So many people believe that once a bone breaks, or once their bones begin to thin with age, life will never quite be the same again. I've seen patients in their 60s and 70s quietly give up on dreams of gardening, traveling, or even simply walking without fear because they think weak bones are an inevitable prison. But what if I told you that your body has a built-in repair kit more powerful than most people realize, and that you can switch it on with simple choices? I'm Dr. Brian, and welcome to Channel Wellness Blueprint Over 50. In today's journey, I'll share 6 natural bone-healing secrets that Big Pharma doesn't want you to know, not because they don't work, but because they work so well you might not need another prescription. Stay with me, because what you discover here could change how you walk, move, and live tomorrow. When I was a young physician, I met a woman named Clara who had fallen on a patch of ice and fractured her wrist. At first, she assumed the cast alone would do the job, but months later she was frustrated that her healing was slow. What finally changed her recovery wasn't a new pill, but the way she nourished her body. You see, bones aren't just cold, rigid sticks like the ones in a skeleton hanging in a classroom. They're living tissue, more like a garden constantly growing and pruning itself. And just like a garden, bones need the right soil and nutrients to flourish. Calcium, of course, is one of the building blocks, but it can't do much unless vitamin D opens the gate that allows calcium to actually enter the bone. Think of vitamin D as the key to the lock. Protein is equally vital. It stitches together the framework like the beams in a house. Without it, the calcium has nowhere to settle. Vitamin C weaves the collagen fibers like threads in a strong net, giving bone its flexible strength. And let's not forget magnesium and phosphorus, the quiet workers that help balance and stabilize the mineral structure. Clara began eating yogurt, salmon, leafy greens, beans, and citrus fruits every single day. Within weeks, her energy lifted, and by the time her next x-ray came, the radiologist was impressed by how quickly the bone tissue had filled in. Modern science confirms what her body proved. A 2017 study in the Journal of Bone and Mineral Research showed that diets rich in calcium, vitamin D, and protein shorten fracture recovery times significantly. Nutrition isn't an optional side dish to healing, it is the recipe itself. If you're over 50 and healing from an injury or just trying to prevent one, think of your plate as your prescription pad. Every colorful serving is another tool for your body's natural builders, silently strengthening the frame that carries you through life. I once had a patient named George, a retired firefighter in his late 60s. He came to me not just with a broken ankle from a fall off a ladder, but also with swelling that wouldn't go down. The bone itself was healing, but the inflammation was like a traffic jam on the highway of recovery. You see, when inflammation lingers too long, it blocks nutrients and oxygen from reaching the very spot that needs them most, like a delivery truck stuck behind miles of stalled cars. That's where anti-inflammatory foods come in. They clear the road so healing traffic can flow freely again. Omega-3 fatty acids from salmon, mackerel, flaxseed, and walnuts are some of the best road clearing crews. They calm the body's overzealous response and allow repair cells to do their job. Turmeric, with its bright golden hue, is another remarkable ally. Its active compound, curcumin, acts like a gentle firefighter, cooling down hot, swollen tissues. Ginger adds its own quiet strength, reducing discomfort while improving circulation. Green tea, rich in polyphenols, mops up free radicals, tiny sparks of damage that otherwise keep the injury site smoldering. Even everyday foods like blueberries, spinach, and tomatoes provide antioxidants that keep inflammation from spiraling out of control. George began a simple routine: grilled salmon twice a week, a cup of green tea in the morning, and a teaspoon of turmeric stirred into warm milk at night. Within a month, his swelling reduced, his pain eased, and he proudly told me, "Doc, I feel like I've got my leg back." Research agrees. Studies in journals like Nutrients have shown that omega-3 fatty acids can directly enhance bone healing by reducing harmful inflammation. The lesson here is powerful. Inflammation is a natural part of the healing process, but when it overstays its welcome, it becomes the enemy. By choosing foods that cool rather than inflame, you give your body the calm environment it needs to repair itself. Each bite can be either a spark that keeps the fire burning or a soothing balm that helps your body rebuild. Years ago, I treated a gentleman named Samuel who broke his hip after tripping in his garden. Surgery went well, but his recovery dragged. He asked me one day, "Dr. Brian, isn't there something nature offers that medicine hasn't bottled yet?" His question reminded me of the centuries of wisdom hidden in herbal traditions. While modern medicine often focuses on prescriptions, many cultures have leaned on plants and natural compounds to help bones knit together. Take comfrey, once known as knit bone. Applied topically as a cream, it has been used since medieval times to speed the mending of fractures. Though I never advise internal use due to potential risks, I've seen patients find comfort in external applications that ease soreness around an injury. Horsetail is another unsung helper, rich in silica, which acts almost like scaffolding in construction, supporting collagen so new bone has a firm framework to grow upon. Collagen supplements themselves, now widely studied, provide the raw materials your body needs to weave that strong, flexible net inside bones. Samuel began a careful plan with my guidance. Collagen powder stirred into his morning oatmeal, a safe magnesium supplement for strength, and vitamin D with calcium to ensure absorption. His progress amazed even his physical therapist, who remarked how steady his steps became within a few short months. Science backs this up. A 2018 review in the journal Nutrients highlighted that collagen supplementation improves bone density in postmenopausal women, a group at high risk of fractures. Minerals like magnesium, phosphorus, and zinc are equally essential, acting as silent partners that fortify the mineral structure of healing bone. Of course, herbs and supplements are not one size fits all. They must be chosen with wisdom, just as Samuel and I discussed possible interactions with his medications before starting anything new. But when carefully integrated, they can provide a bridge between nutrition and medicine, filling the gaps where diet alone might not be enough. Nature offers us remarkable tools if we know where to look. And for those healing from fractures or hoping to strengthen aging bones, these gifts can tip the balance from fragile to resilient. Not long ago, I worked with a woman named Evelyn, 72, who had fractured her pelvis in a fall. The hospital team managed her pain and stabilized her injury, but when I met her during rehab, she was discouraged. She told me, "Dr. Brian, I'm scared to move. What if I fall again?" That fear is real for many people over 50, but here's the paradox. Movement, done safely, is exactly what helps bones heal stronger. Bones respond to stress the way muscles do. They remodel and grow denser when gently challenged, like a tree trunk thickening in the wind. With her doctor's clearance, Evelyn started simple. Short walks down the hallway, then light resistance exercises. Slowly, her bones and muscles began to rebuild, giving her the confidence she thought she'd lost. But lifestyle isn't only about movement. Rest plays a role just as important. When you sleep, your body releases growth hormone, the foreman who directs repair crews to injured sites. Without 7 to 9 hours of deep rest, the builders never get their orders. Stress management is another hidden key. Chronic stress floods the body with cortisol, a hormone that weakens bone and slows healing. Evelyn discovered meditation and gentle breathing exercises, practices that not only calmed her mind, but also created a biochemical environment where her bones could recover. Then there's the matter of habits that harm. Smoking reduces blood flow, like pinching the hose that's supposed to water your garden, while excessive alcohol blocks calcium absorption. Quitting or cutting down isn't just good advice. It's a lifeline for anyone trying to mend. And hydration, though often overlooked, is vital. Every cellular process, including bone repair, depends on water. Evelyn began keeping a small bottle with her at all times, a quiet but powerful act of self-care. Months later, she walked into my office with her head held high, using no cane, no walker, just her own strength. She said, "I didn't just heal my bone, I healed my life." That is the power of lifestyle, small, consistent choices that shape the very framework of your body. One of my fondest memories as a child was watching my grandmother sit by the window every morning, knitting with the sun streaming across her lap. She didn't know it at the time, but she was giving her bones exactly what they needed: sunlight. Our skin is a remarkable organ, a kind of solar panel that converts rays of light into vitamin D. And vitamin D is the gatekeeper of bone health, unlocking the door that allows calcium to actually enter and strengthen our bones. Without it, all the calcium in the world just drifts through the body unused, like bricks piled up with no mortar to hold them in place. I once treated a man named Harold, in his late 60s, who had suffered repeated stress fractures in his feet. He was puzzled because he ate well, exercised, and took his calcium supplements faithfully. A simple blood test revealed the missing link. His vitamin D levels were extremely low. Living in a northern climate, he rarely saw the sun during winter. We developed a safe plan: 10 to 15 minutes of sunlight exposure on his arms and face during mild hours, combined with vitamin D-rich foods like salmon and fortified milk. Within months, his fractures healed more predictably, and he told me he felt a new vitality, almost as though his body had been thirsty and finally received a long drink of water. Science supports what Harold experienced. Research published in the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition confirms that adequate vitamin D levels dramatically reduce fracture risk in older adults. The beauty of sunlight is that it doesn't just build bones, it also lifts mood. The same rays that spark vitamin D production also boost serotonin, the neurotransmitter that steadies emotions. It's no coincidence that people feel lighter and more alive after time outdoors. Of course, safety matters. I always recommend avoiding peak midday hours and protecting skin from overexposure. But those gentle moments in the morning or late afternoon can work wonders. Sunlight is free, it's accessible, and for bones over 50, it's nothing short of medicine from the sky. There's a quiet thief that often goes unnoticed in the lives of older adults. It doesn't sneak in through the window or break into your home. It hides in everyday habits, slowly weakening bones and stealing strength. I remember counseling a woman named Margaret, who had been struggling with a slow healing fracture in her ankle. She was diligent with her nutrition and exercise, yet her x-rays showed delayed progress. When we looked closer, the culprit revealed itself. She loved her evening glass of wine, her morning coffee, and her salty packaged snacks. None of these in moderation would be catastrophic, but together they were sabotaging her healing. Alcohol, when consumed excessively, blocks the very cells, osteoblasts, that build new bone. It's like shutting down the construction crew before the house is finished. Caffeine, especially in high doses, causes calcium to wash out of the body through urine. Imagine trying to fill a bathtub while the drain is wide open. That's what too much coffee does to your calcium reserves. High-sodium foods, such as processed meals and salty snacks, push calcium out in much the same way, leaving bones craving the minerals they desperately need. And smoking, perhaps the most notorious of all, restricts blood flow and poisons the very environment where new bone tissue should thrive. When Margaret made changes, limiting her alcohol to the occasional weekend toast, switching 1 cup of coffee to herbal tea, and replacing chips with fresh fruit, her healing trajectory shifted. Within a few months, her scans showed new bone filling in, and more importantly, she told me she felt stronger and steadier on her feet. The lesson is simple but profound. Healing isn't only about what you add, it's also about what you avoid. Just as weeds can choke out a garden no matter how rich the soil, harmful substances can strangle the efforts of nutrition, exercise, and sunlight. By cutting back on these bone-hindering habits, you create a clear, open field where your body's natural builders can finally do their work. Every small step away from these thieves is a step toward freedom, strength, and independence. If there's one truth I hope you carry with you, it's this: your bones are not static or doomed by age. They are alive, responsive, and capable of renewal. With nourishing food, calming anti-inflammatory choices, wise use of herbs and supplements, gentle movement, healing rest, sunlight's gift of vitamin D, and freedom from harmful substances, you hold the keys to resilience. I've seen patients in their 70s and 80s reclaim independence, joy, and confidence through these steps, and so can you. I'm Dr. Brian, reminding you, change is possible at any age. Stay strong, stay hopeful, and keep walking forward.